Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of our English Learning Podcast. My name is Natasha, and today we are diving into one of my favorite ways to improve English learning through movies and TV shows. If you are someone who loves watching Netflix, YouTube, or Hollywood films, this method will be a treat for you. You see, learning English doesn't have to be boring. It doesn't have to mean sitting at a desk memorizing hundreds of grammar rules or filling in worksheets that make you sleepy. Movies and TV shows bring English to life in a way that textbooks never can. When you watch a movie or a series, you are not just hearing words, you are seeing facial expressions, body language, and cultural context. This makes it much easier for your brain to connect the words with real-life situations. Think about it. When a character says, "What's up?" with a smile and a wave, you instantly understand it's a friendly greeting, even if you didn't know the phrase before. Compare that to reading "What's up" means hello in casual English. In a textbook, it just doesn't feel the same. Movies and TV shows immerse you in the rhythm, tone, and natural speed of English conversation. They expose you to accents, slang, and idioms that native speakers use in daily life. This is something even some English classes don't fully provide. Because classroom language is often simplified, another reason this method is powerful is that movies and series make learning emotional. When you get hooked on a story, your brain is more active. For example, if you are watching Friends and you laugh at Joey's funny lines or feel touched by Monica and Chandler's love story, you naturally pay attention to the language they use. Emotional involvement boosts memory, so the words and phrases stick in your head. I personally remember learning the phrase "give me a break" from a comedy movie because the actor said it in such a funny, frustrated tone that I never forgot it. Watching movies and TV shows also improves your listening skills in a very natural way. You start to recognize patterns of speech, like how native speakers link words together. For instance, "What do you want to do?" often sounds like "what you want to do" in real life. At first, it might sound like a completely new word, but as you keep listening, you start catching these connections. This is something that audio lessons can help with, but movies make it easier because you can see the characters' lips, gestures, and reactions, which support your understanding. Of course, some learners worrying about understanding every single word. Here's the good news: you don't have to. Even native speakers sometimes miss words in a movie, but they understand the story because of context. What you want to focus on is the general meaning first, and then slowly pick up new vocabulary and expressions as you watch. And because movies and series are entertaining, you'll want to rewatch them. Every time you watch again, you will notice new details and learn new phrases naturally. In short, movies and TV shows are like a free English teacher who is always ready to teach you in a fun, relaxing way. They bring together listening, vocabulary, culture, and even pronunciation practice if you use the right techniques, which we will talk about in the next segments. So grab your popcorn because we're going to explore how to make this method super effective for your English journey. The first step to learning English with movies and TV shows is choosing the right content. Not every movie or show will help you learn effectively. If you pick something too hard, you'll get frustrated and maybe even give up. If you pick something too easy, you might get bored or stop learning new words. So how do we find the perfect balance? First, think about your English level. If you are a beginner, don't jump straight into fast-paced dramas like Suits or Game of Thrones. Those shows have complex vocabulary and very quick dialogue. Instead, start with simpler shows like Friends, The Big Bang Theory, or animated movies like Finding Nemo or Zootopia. These shows use everyday English that is easier to follow and often repeat common phrases. Animation is great because the characters speak clearly and the stories are simple yet fun. If you are an intermediate learner, you can challenge yourself. With popular dramas or sitcoms like How I Met Your Mother, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, or Stranger Things, these shows mix everyday conversation with a little bit of slang and idioms, which will expand your vocabulary naturally. Intermediate learners can also enjoy romantic comedies, family dramas, or superhero movies because they have a lot of emotional content that helps you guess meaning from the story. Advanced learners can dive into almost anything legal dramas, medical shows, historical films, or even reality TV. But here's a tip. Even if you are advanced, don't only focus on difficult content. Watching a variety of genres, including sitcoms or lifestyle shows, can expose you to more casual, conversational English that is used in daily life. Another thing to consider is your personal interest. If you love what you're watching, you'll pay more attention and watch longer. For example, if you are a fan of superheroes, Marvel movies are a great start. If you like cooking, watch MasterChef or Chef's Table. If you enjoy crime and mystery, Sherlock or Brooklyn Nine-Nine might keep you hooked. Passion keeps you motivated, and motivation is the key to consistent learning. Also, check the accent and clarity. For most learners, starting with American or British accents is easier because these are widely taught in schools and appear in many resources. Once you are comfortable, you can explore Australian, Canadian, or even Indian English shows to expose yourself to global English varieties. Finally, episode length matters. TV shows are great because episodes are usually 20 to 40 minutes long, which is perfect for focused learning sessions. Movies are longer, so if your attention fades after 30 minutes, break the movie into sections and watch it over a few days. Once you've picked your shows or movies wisely, the next step is learning how to watch them effectively, which we'll cover in the next segment. We explored why movies and series are such a powerful tool for English learners and how to choose the right ones based on your level and interest. Now it's time to dive into the most important part, how to watch effectively, because let's be honest, if we just sit on the couch, watch a movie like we usually do, and laugh at the jokes without paying attention, our English won't improve much. We need to transform casual watching into active learning, and I'm going to show you exactly how. The first and most common tool that language learners use is subtitles. Subtitles are your best friend, but only if you use them wisely. Many learners make the mistake of watching English movies with subtitles in their native language. While this can help you understand the story, it doesn't actually train your brain to process English. Instead, it keeps you in translation mode. Your eyes read your language, your brain translates, and by the time you understand, the scene has already moved on. That's why I strongly recommend using English subtitles instead. When you see and hear the same words in English at the same time, your brain starts connecting the sounds to the spelling and meaning. This reinforces your listening and reading skills together and gradually reduces your dependence on translation. Now, how should you use subtitles step by step? Let me give you a simple 3-stage method. First, watch and enjoy the story with English subtitles. When you start watching a new episode or movie, turn on the English subtitles and simply enjoy the show. Don't pause too often. Let your brain focus on the story and the characters. Glance at the subtitles when you need them, but try to listen more than you read. This first watch is about understanding the plot and getting emotionally connected. For example, if you are watching Finding Nemo, you don't need to understand every fishy joke to enjoy the adventure. Let the story carry you along. Second, watch and listen without subtitles. The next day, or even immediately after, rewatch this same episode or a few key scenes without subtitles. This time, your goal is to focus on your listening skills. At first, you might feel a little lost, but because you already know the story, you can guess many words from context. This is how you train your ears to recognize natural speech, connected sounds, and real accents. For instance, in Friends, Joey might say, "How you doing?" very quickly. Without subtitles, you start to hear the melody and rhythm of his speech instead of reading it. Third watch, check and learn. On your third watch, you can turn the English subtitles back on to check the lines you missed or misunderstood. This stage is where you confirm your learning. You might notice phrases like "I can't believe it" or "That's hilarious" that you didn't catch clearly before. You can pause and repeat them out loud to practice pronunciation. This triple watch method may sound like extra effort, but it's extremely effective because it turns one episode into a rich language lesson. Instead of just spending 20 minutes watching, you are getting 60 minutes of active English practice from the same content, and because it's fun, it won't feel like homework. Next, let's talk about one of the most powerful techniques for speaking and pronunciation: shadowing. Shadowing is when you repeat what the actors say immediately after you hear it, copying their tone, rhythm, and emotion as closely as possible. Think of it like singing along to a song, but with dialogue instead of music. This method is fantastic because it makes your mouth practice the exact sounds that native speakers use. Over time, it improves your pronunciation, intonation, and speaking confidence. Here's how to shadow effectively. Choose a short, interesting scene, maybe 30 to 60 seconds long. Play it once to understand the meaning, then play it again, pause after each line, and repeat it exactly like the actor. Try to match their emotion, speed, and even facial expressions. If the actor says, "You've got to be kidding me," with surprise, act surprised when you say it too. This helps your brain and mouth work together to produce natural-sounding English. You can also combine shadowing with subtitles. Start with English subtitles to help you catch every word, then remove the subtitles and rely only on your ears. Some learners like to record themselves shadowing a scene, then compare it to the original. This is a bit like having a free pronunciation coach because you can hear the difference and adjust. I personally did this when I was practicing my American accent using The Devil Wears Prada. I would imitate Meryl Streep's calm, commanding tone and Anne Hathaway's fast, nervous speech. It was fun, and it improved my speaking rhythm without me even realizing it. Now, let's move on to another essential part of effective watching: note-taking. While watching, you will come across many new words and phrases. But here's the secret: don't try to write down everything. If you pause every 5 seconds to write, you will kill the fun of watching. Instead, focus on useful, high-frequency phrases or lines that you personally like. For example, in a romantic comedy, you might hear, "I can't stop thinking about you," or in an action movie, "We've got to get out of here." These are phrases you can actually use in conversation. Write them in a notebook or a digital note app. Include the phrase, its meaning if you're not sure, and maybe a short example sentence you create yourself. Another tip is to categorize your notes by function or emotion. For instance, make a page for greetings, a page for expressing surprise, or a page for apologizing when you hear something like "no way," or "are you serious?" Add it to your surprise list. This way, your notebook becomes a treasure chest of real-life expressions. In addition to shadowing and note-taking, pay attention to body language, facial expressions, and tone. Movies are a complete language experience because meaning isn't only in words. When a character rolls their eyes, sighs, or laughs nervously, you learn cultural cues that books can't teach you. Understanding these subtle signals will make your English communication more natural. For example, in the office, Jim often gives a funny look to the camera without saying a word, and you immediately understand the humor from his expression. And the situation. To make this process a routine, try dedicating a small block of time daily. For example, spend 30 minutes watching one short scene actively subtitles, shadowing, note-taking, and then another 30 minutes just enjoying an episode passively. Consistency is more important than marathon sessions. Even 20 minutes of focused, active watching every day will create massive improvement over a few months. Finally, remember this golden rule. Don't be afraid of not understanding everything. Language learning is about exposure and repetition, not perfection. You might not catch every joke or every slang word at first, but with time, your brain will naturally absorb the patterns. I like to call this the magic of immersion. At first, English sounds like a fast, complicated stream. But after weeks or months of active watching, suddenly your ears wake up and you start catching lines without even thinking. So, to summarize this long and powerful segment, use English subtitles smartly, practice the triple watch method, shadow your favorite characters to improve speaking, take notes of phrases you love, and make it a daily habit. With this approach, every episode becomes a language lesson full of laughter, excitement, and real English skills waiting for you to grab. Movies and TV shows are not just for fun, they are your secret English school if you know how to watch them the right way, how to choose the right content, and how to watch effectively. It's time to tackle the most important question. How do you take what you've learned on screen and use it in your real-life English? After all, the ultimate goal of learning English is not just to understand a movie or laugh at a sitcom. It's to speak with confidence, listen effortlessly, and connect with people around the world. The first step in turning entertainment into a practical skill is active application. Many learners make the mistake of only watching movies and feeling like that's enough. While it improves listening and gives you a sense of the language, real improvement comes from using what you've learned. Whenever you pick up a new phrase, expression, or even a way of saying something, make a conscious effort to use it. Imagine you watched Friends and learned the phrase, "You gotta be kidding me." The moment someone gives you surprising news, try saying it aloud in English. Don't wait for the perfect conversation partner. Use it with yourself, with a friend who speaks English, or even type it in a social media comment. The more you use the words, the more natural they become. Another powerful method is scene retelling. After watching an episode or a movie scene, pause and summarize it in English, out loud or in writing. This forces your brain to recall vocabulary, structure sentences, and express ideas in your own words. It doesn't have to be perfect. Fluency grows with practice, not with perfection. Let's say you just watched an episode of Stranger Things. You could try explaining, "In this episode, the kids discovered a secret passage under the mall. 11 used her powers to protect her friends, but she also got hurt. And Mike looked really worried about her." Notice that even this simple retelling makes your brain work actively to combine listening input with speaking output. Over time, this exercise transforms passive vocabulary into active speaking ability. A fun variation of this is character imitation. Choose a character whose voice, style, or humor you enjoy and try becoming them for a few minutes. If you Love Joey from Friends. Repeat his funny lines with his tone and facial expressions. If you enjoy Sherlock Holmes, practice saying his analytical lines with his sharp, confident delivery. This may feel silly at first, but it is a secret weapon for improving pronunciation, intonation, and even emotional expression. When you imitate a character, you are not just memorizing words, you are absorbing the music of the language, the rise and fall of the voice, the pauses, and the emotion behind the words. All of these elements make your English sound more natural and alive. To take your learning beyond the screen, writing practice can also help. Keep a short movie journal in English. After every movie or episode, write a few sentences about what you watched and what you learned. For example, today I watched the movie The Intern. I learned the phrases "you nailed it" and "hang in there." I liked the scene where the main character gave advice to the younger employees. It was inspiring. This kind of reflection not only helps you remember new expressions, but also trains you to think in English. Even 3 to 5 sentences per day can make a difference if you stay consistent. One often overlooked step in transferring movie English to real life is creating conversations in your head. After you watch a show, imagine yourself in that world and talk to the characters in English. For instance, if you're watching The Big Bang Theory, imagine replying to Sheldon's questions or joining their group discussions. This mental practice, also called inner dialogue, helps you prepare your brain for real conversations. The next time someone talks to you in English, your mind will already be used to forming responses quickly. Another way to bring movie English into your daily life is by joining communities. After watching a show, go online to YouTube comments, Reddit threads, or fan groups and join discussions in English. Share your opinion about an episode, your favorite character, or even a funny moment you enjoyed. Engaging with real people in writing, even in short comments, transforms passive watching into an interactive learning experience. You may even make friends who share your interests, and practicing English with someone who loves the same show as you is always easier and more fun. One of the most beautiful benefits of learning English with movies and TV shows is cultural awareness. Language is more than words. It carries history, humor, emotions, and unspoken rules of communication. By watching shows, you start to understand jokes, sarcasm, and the subtle ways people express feelings. For example, in American culture, saying "break a leg" before a performance is a way of wishing good luck, not a literal injury. In British comedies, humor often comes from understatement or irony, and watching these shows helps you feel that difference. This cultural insight makes your English more authentic because you start using expressions in the right context, which is something textbooks often fail to teach. Here's another tip for connecting your learning to real life. Shadow daily life scenes and then practice them outside. For instance, if you watch a movie where a character orders coffee at a cafe, pause, repeat the conversation aloud, and then try using it next time you go to a cafe. You might say, "Hi, can I get a latte, please?" just like the actor did. The first time you use it in real life, it feels exciting because your practice has come to life. This is how you slowly turn your favorite TV shows into a bridge between the screen and reality. Consistency is the final key. Watching 1 or 2 movies will not magically transform your English, but making this a habit will. I recommend creating a simple routine like this. Day 1, watch an episode for fun with English subtitles. Day 2, rewatch key scenes, shadow 5 to 10 sentences, and take 3 to 5 notes of useful phrases. Day 3, retell the episode out loud or in writing and use at least one phrase in your daily life. If you follow this pattern for even 1 month, you will notice your listening becomes sharper, your speaking more confident, and your vocabulary more. Alive, movies and TV shows then become more than entertainment. They become your personal English teachers, available anytime you press play. Before we close this episode, I want to remind you of one more thing. Don't pressure yourself to be perfect. Language learning is a journey, not a race. There will be moments when you feel frustrated because you don't understand a joke or a scene moves too fast. That's okay. Even native speakers sometimes miss words in movies. Focus on progress, not perfection. Celebrate every new phrase. You learn every line you successfully shadow, and every moment you enjoy the story in English. Those small wins add up to fluency over time. To sum up this journey, start by watching what you love. Use subtitles wisely, shadow and imitate your favorite characters, retell scenes to make the language your own, and then take that energy into the real world. Talk to yourself, write short reflections, engage with fans online, and try using what you learn in everyday life. Slowly, your favorite TV shows and movies will not just entertain you, they will transform your English in ways you never imagined. And remember, the more you enjoy the process, the faster you will grow. So grab that remote, pick a show that excites you, and start your English adventure today. I believe in you, and I can't wait to hear how your favorite movies help you speak English with confidence and joy.